Athel Hamilton's Ghost Ape. Although Athel Hamilton Manor is said to be the home to 6 ghostly human spirits, they pale in comparison to the dwelling's 7th otherworldly inhabitant. How does one compete with the tragic tale of a loyal ape who met his unfortunate end? This beloved pet had quite the journey, sailing across the seas to England into the care of Sir William Martin. He formed an especially close companionship with Martin's daughters. So, when she decided to lock herself away and commit suicide over heartbreak, the devoted ape followed her into that secret room. The stories vary on what happens next. Some say the daughter changed her mind and left the room alive. Others claim she carried out her plan and perished. But the one thing all accounts can agree on is that the ape remained trapped inside with no way out or access to food. He slowly starved to death in confinement. Now, his ghost haunts Athel Hampton Manor, scratching frantically at the walls in futile attempt to escape. Though, as a spirit, he should be unfettered by physical barriers, he has also been spotted swinging through the halls and mindlessly scratching himself everywhere, perhaps echoing the agony of his final living moments. So, while the human ghost may startle, it is the tragic ape who truly captures one's imagination and sympathy at the Athel Hampton Manor. Welcome back to Paranormal Playground. Paranormal Nick here to feed your paranormal fix. Last episode, we talked about the ability of animals to see spirits. And we also brought up the topic of animals that could potentially come back as ghosts. All the stories we covered previously came from the United States. After recording and downloading that episode, I happened to come across an article about Britain's strangest ghost animal encounters. So, this week, we are going to cover some ghost animals originating from Great Britain. The Phantom Bear. The infamous Tower of London has witnessed immense bloodshed and misery within its walls for nearly a millennium. For centuries, it functioned as both a prison and an execution site, where countless unfortunates met their demise at the sharp blade of the executioner's axe. Given its dark history, it's no surprise that the tower reportedly brims with restless spirits of the dead ready to chill even the boldest ghost hunter. However, not all these ghosts are of the human variety. On one bone-chilling night in 1816, a young sentry guard spotted a terrifying sight. An enormous spectral bear materializing from beneath the door at the Crown Jewels chambers. The creature lurched towards the terrified young man. He raised his bayonet in self-defense. To his dismay, the weapon passed directly through the phantasmal bear and struck fast in the door behind it. Overwhelmed by the shock and terror, the guard lost consciousness. His commanding officer discovered him collapsed on the floor. He accused him of falling asleep on duty. Now, this is a serious infraction carrying a harsh punishment. Despite punishment looming, the sentry vehemently maintained his innocence and recounted his frightening encounter with the ghostly bear. Now, suspecting drunkenness, the authorities summoned a doctor who, after examination, corroborated the guard's story. He showed no traces of intoxication. Though exonerated, the young man never fully recovered from the trauma of the lingering dread. Anxiety and stress eventually claimed his life prematurely. As far as records show, the spectral assailant never appeared again within the Tower of London. However, with a history soaked in violence and pain, who knows what apparitions may yet roam the endless halls and corridors. The Raven. Ravens have long been featured in folklore and mythos of diverse ancient cultures. Many Native American tribes traditionally regard the raven either as mischievous trickster entity prone to all manners of mystical hijinks or a psychopomp guide bearing departed souls to the afterlife. In Britain, one castle plays host to a phantom raven of its own. Holt Castle near Wexham once ranked among the most imposing and impenetrable fortifications in England, though now a silent, crumbling ruin. This ancient castle seems to have an uncanny aviation visitor, specifically the ghost of a raven. According to accounts from visitors walking the ruins, a shadowy spectral raven simultaneously manifests to accost explorers. This particular animal apparition seems adverse to light and aggressively dives at any torchbearer wandering the castle depths. After hurriedly swooping and vanishing into enveloping shadows, the phantom is not glimpsed again. So, next time you find yourself in Holt Castle's decaying battlements as night falls, keep watch for the fleeting, ebony-feathered form of the gloom. You may just encounter this mysterious resident raven guarding the fortress from beyond the veil. Greyfriars Kirkyard. Greyfriars Kirkyard in storied Edinburgh, Scotland, has sparked ample paranormal intrigue over the past few decades. Many who dare to walk through its Gothic gates claim to risk their safety from a dangerous ghost believed to be the wrath of George Mackenzie. This spectral menace is said to physically attack trespassers exploring his former prison and executioner grounds. However, This is not the only famous phantom haunting Grey Ferris. A much more benevolent four-legged ghost has won acclaim there, affectionately called Grey Ferris Bobby. In life, Bobby was a devoted canine companion. When his owner died, this loyal dog guarded his grave until eventually perishing there one night. But Bobby persisted beyond death. His ghostly form has since been spotted still watching over his master's resting place. Visitors have also reported hearing a phantom dog barking around Kirkyard, with some even glimpsing a wispy canine spirit bonding about the ground. So, the violent Mackenzie polices his old haunts while gentle Bobby yet stands vigil through the ages over his beloved friend. The graves of Grey Ferris feature a tale of two ghosts, one representing the worst of humanity, and one showcasing a dog's eternal, selfless love. The Ferocious Lion. So-called crisis apparitions rank among the most widely documented paranormal phenomena. This uncanny manifestation of dying or recently deceased is not limited to people, but animals exhibit a phenomena as well. One compelling case occurred at the esteemed Regent's Park in London, home to the popular zoo and botanical garden. In the 1930s, an elderly man was enjoying the afternoon there with his granddaughter. Unexpectedly, the pair nearly collided with an apparitional lion stalking the grounds. However, this spectral big cat appeared oddly transparent in an eerie glowing way, unlike any earthly lion. As fate would have it, the eyewitness was a zookeeper family familiar with the animals. So the very next day, he learned that one of the zoo's lions had suddenly, unexpectedly perished. The very same animal he and his daughter had glimpsed in ghostly crisis apparition form mere hours beforehand. So, next time you find yourself at the zoo after closing hours and observe an animal that seems oddly muted in color yet hyper-real in form, you may well be witnessing the spirit form of a newly deceased resident previewing the great beyond. The Distraught Hare. Our final phantom beast hails from the seaside town of Low off Cornwall's coast, born of tragedy and sorrow. As legend holds, a desperate young woman took her own life after being rejected by her sailor sweetheart. In the aftermath of locating her shattered body, the ghostly apparition of a white hare began appearing around the countryside. This spectral manifests on the streets of Low itself, seen cautioning intoxicated seamen wandering near the harbor against reckless behavior, lest they tumble into the dark ocean depths. Some perceive the phantom hare as a prudent wrath deterring foolish choices, while more ominous interpretations paint her as an omen of impending doom. Over a century, the mournful spirit of the suicide victim endures in the guise of this vigilant, ghostly hare, She earnestly strives to prevent other lost souls from meeting her watery fate. So, if you spy her spectral form while visiting coastal Cornwall, heed well her warning and tread safely, or risk becoming another victim claimed by the remorseless sea. This was a few tales from across the pond. This has been a Dead Squirrel in the Woods Productions. Be sure to like us on Facebook and subscribe on YouTube to be informed when new content drops. This was written and edited by me, and I hope you enjoyed the episode and will join us for future ones.